Good afternoon, everyone. Let us continue our discussion. For the second part of our subject, basically, we'll talk about contracts. And to start with, for chapter 1, basically contracts, we'll talk about from Articles 1305 until 1422 of the new Civil Code. And then, as for the general provisions, let's start with 1305. And then 1305 says that a contract is a meeting of the minds between two persons whereby one binds himself with respect to the other to give something or to render some service. So here, by this definition, um these emphasize, well, the meeting of the minds between the contracting parties. This is stipulated as well in 1309, which takes place when one party's offer has been accepted by the other. So a meeting of the minds happens when party's offer is accepted by the other. So here, a Spanish commentator, which is Sanchez Roman. This is a commentator and expert in civil law, defined contract, which is actually a Latin term for contractus. Oh no, it the Latin term is contractus, and a French word for that is contract, which is a juridical convention manifested in legal form by virtue of which one or more persons or parties bind themselves in favor of another or others, or reciprocally, to the fulfillment of a prestation, to give, to do, or not to do. Ano? And then, if we have to differentiate based on what we have learned in the previous na mga topics, if we have to distinguish contracts from obligations, well, basically, as what we've known, contract is a source of obligation. It is basically provided in Article 1157 and defined here under 1305. And then, obligation, it is the legal tie or the relation itself that exists after the contract was entered into. So, ang nangyayari ay, the contract is the cause, well, the obligation is the effect of such contract. So, if we have to differentiate naman between a contract and an agreement, well, contracts basically are agreements which are enforceable siya in court, while agreements are not always enforceable by a court action, or you could not always have a case filed because of an agreement. As an example of which, well, we could have an agreement to go to the mall on, or to go to church on Sunday. Well, it is all of our moral obligation, tama ba? But if violated, you can really be compelled to do it, So, therefore, we could say that all contracts are agreements, but not all agreements are contracts. That is under 1305, and we go further. There are certain characteristics or basic principles, ang contracts. Contracts have binding effects based on the following principles. So, basically, obligations arising from contract have the force of law between the contracting parties. So it has an obligatory force, and it is expected that there should be compliance in good faith by the parties. So that is why if there is a conflict or dispute arising from a contract, usually babalik po tayo dun sa contract and would look into it and how would the party settle for that, because based on the principle na the contract has the force of law between the contracting parties. And then another principle is that there must be mutuality between the parties based on their essential equality, to which is repugnant to have one party bound by the contract, leaving the other free therefrom. So in simple words, Tito, it's like saying na a contract should have, both parties in the contract should be bound equally. Hindi yung po pwedeng this repugnant. When you say repugnant, offensive to one and the other is released therefrom. If there would be an agreement, it should be based on equality. So, according na to a decided case by the Supreme Court, yung principle ng mutuality ng contracts, it provides that the contract must bind both the contracting parties. Its validity or compliance should not be left to the will of any one of them. And then this binding effect of a contract on both parties is based on the principle of Sewell, that the obligations arising from contracts have the force of law between the contracting parties, and there must be mutuality between them based essentially on their equality, under which it is repugnant to them to have one party bound by the contract while the other is free therefrom. So dapat po ay mutually beneficial, or equally uh, binding to both of the parties, the contracting parties. But other characteristics would be encountering in the future, in the later discussion, would also came across with liberty to contracts. A contract basically would be perfected by mere consent, and then usually contracts are also binding between the parties, or only on the also with their heirs and with their assigns. So makikita natin on later on when it comes to our discussion further. Here, it says that contract is one of the sources of obligations under 1157. That is why I have differentiated it a while ago. And then, obligation, on the other hand, is a legal tie or relation itself that exists after a contract has been entered into. So, as a consequence, as a, tawag nito, well, the contract is the cause nga daw, and then as a consequence of that, an obligation is an obligation arises. In addition, contracts are agreements enforceable through legal proceedings, while those agreements cannot be enforced by action in the courts of justice, are merely moral or social agreements. So I've given an example. An agreement is broader than a contract because the former may not have all the elements of the contract. So an agreement may not have all the elements of a contract, but it's quite broader, and it covers as well a contract. So all contracts basically are agreements, but not all agreements are contracts. Hence, contract will not exist if there is no obligation to begin with, but an obligation may exist even without the contract. So in the same way, all contracts are agreements, but not all agreements are contracts. So a very important discussion is to the elements of contract. When it comes to the elements of contracts, we have essential elements, we have natural elements, and we have as well accidental elements. For essential elements, we have, well, these, when we say essential elements, these are those elements without them a contract cannot exist, because these are very indispensable or very important na requirements. Such as consent, object, and cause. Ano yung consent? Ano yung object? Ano yung cause? Well, for consent, object, let's resume. So basically, yung essential elements, eto po ay discussed under Article 1318, na sinasabi din doon, there's no contract unless the following requisites are present. So for consent, that is consent of the contracting parties, the object or the object, which is the subject matter of the contract. It is important na it is something that is certain, and then cause of the obligation. So, importante. Ano ba yung consent? Ang consent, basically, ito yung manifestation of the meeting of the minds, or meeting of the offer and the acceptance upon the thing and the cause of the contract. So, yun lang po yun, When it comes to natural elements, ano ba yung mga natural elements? Ang natural elements, these are found in certain contracts that are presumed to exist, unless they are excluded by stipulation by the parties. So, part siya ng contract even if the parties do not provide for them. So, because the law, as a suppletory to the contract, ibig sabihin nito, supplement siya ng contract, creates them. So, sa natural element, parang impliedly, kahit di siya nakastipulate, kahit di siya nakasulat sa contract, you could see that, you could say that they are still present, not unless daw may requisitos or may mga provisions na nagsasabi na excluded siya. So, ano yung mga example nito? So, mga implied warranties. So, usually, ang example nito yung sa contract of sale. Kahit hindi natin sabihin, we try to convey for a house and lot or a building and a lot, and a commercial lot. So, there is a warranty or there is an implied warranty to such contract of sale na against eviction na yung parties would be um, staying there without the threat of being evicted or magkakaroon sila ng peaceful na occupation and possession of the property. Yun yung mga kahit na hindi sinasabi or kahit hindi sasabihin sa kontrata, yun ay implied na. And then, it is a warranty against hidden defects in the contract of sale. And then, at the same time, yun din yung mga warranties ng hindi siya encumbered, wala siyang uh, mga burdens na naka-attach, kumbaga. So, free from any liens or encumbrances. Yung at the same time, ang pinaka-usual na warranty is the warranty that the owner has the right to convey the property when it was accepted by the buyer. So, yun yung mga sinasabi nating implied warranties na kahit hindi nakasulat, those are natural elements which are part of the contract. Even though it is not being written in the contract, it is presumed that it exists. And then, we have accidental elements. And accidental elements, we have, basically, ito, agreed upon by the parties and which cannot exist without being stipulated. So, in other words, it should be stipulated. So, such as, well, the stipulation to pay in credit, to pay for interest, designation of a particular place for the delivery or payment. Yun yung mga certain na mga fulfillment ng mga conditions or periods sa isang obligation. So, yun yung mga accidental, kumbaga, as an example ng mga elements. And when it comes to freedom and limitations of contractual stipulations, let's have 1306. And under 1306, we have freedom to contract and to read for the provision. Basically, it says that the contracting parties may establish such stipulations, clauses, terms, and conditions as may deem convenient, provided they are not contrary to law, morals, good customs, public order, or public policies. As what I've said, we call this concept as freedom to contract. Sometimes we call this one as well yung principle of autonomy or liberty to contract. Ito yung sinasabi natin sa 1306. The right to enter into contract is one of the liberties guaranteed to the individual by the Constitution. That is Article 3, Section 10 thereof. But this refers only to legally valid na mga contracts. So, yun yung principle of autonomy or liberty to contract. But there are certain prohibitions or limitations sa contractual stipulation. So, dapat daw hindi siya against the law, against morals, against customs, against public order, against public policy. So, isa-isahin natin such as, well, contrary to law, it should not make it as a consideration yung or part of, it should not make it as in the agreement na I give you 10,000, well, you have to kill someone, diba? It could not be. And then, moral. So, yung promise of marriage para lang you could have a carnal knowledge or you could have sexual relationships. So, hindi yun po pwede or well, you're into a valid na binding marriage, one is married and then the other is engaged in tawag nito, another sexual relationship with a single one. So basically, it's against the law as well. So ano ba yung mga good customs? Well, yung you have to vote someone in exchange of you vote someone in exchange for a consideration. So yun yung against good customs. How about yung against public policy or public order? Well, yung sa public policy, yung pinipigilan mo or nagkakaroon tayo ng monopolyo, public policy, restraint ang trade. Pinipigilan mong ibang para makapag um, have their business. And then, public order naman, well, ang example nito, yung sa isang contract of lease, nagkakaroon ka ng agreement na sasabihin mo na ikaw, lessee, ay aking palalayasin diyan at saka gagamitan kita ng puwersa in case na ma-violate mo yung ating gagamitan kita ng force and violence in case na ma-violate mo yung ating contract. So, to simplify under this provision, the contracting parties can enter any stipulations provided lang it's not contrary to law or moral. So, importante yun. And then, you have there, the contracts of the parties must conform with the law in force at the time of the contract was executed. One thing important as well, since at the time the contracts were entered into, there was yet no statute fixing a ceiling on rentals and prohibiting the lessor from demanding an increase thereof. The lessor has the right to do so. So, dapat it is conform to the law in force at the time the contract was being executed. Another important decision of the Supreme Court, which is material to this provision, is when decided under Ochenko versus the City Court of Zamboanga. Well, even under PD20 regulating rentals of 300 or less a month, a lessor is allowed to sell his land in case of extreme necessity, as when he is 75 years old, needs money for his illness and is jobless. He's exempt from the suspension decreed in PD20. In fact, the monthly rent here of 500 is a mere pittance, and the lessee may be considered a gratuitous one. Besides, the lessee is much better off than the latter because the lessee owns as much bigger land in the city, and the decree is precisely designed to alleviate the living conditions of those in need. Well, a penalty clause providing for payment of 5 pesos for each day's delay after the maturity of a loan for 465 was considered immoral, was held immoral, inequitable, shocking to the human conscience, and void. So yun, 5 pesos each day. It's immoral and inequitable. It's shocking to the human conscience. Every contract affecting the public interest suffers a congenital infirmity, or in that it contains an implied reservation of the police power as a postulate of the existing order. This power can be activated at any time to change the provisions of the contract or even abrogate it entirely for the promotion of protection of general welfare. Well, this one, such will not be asked in your board exam, basically. So, what are the characteristics of contract? So, we have partly discussed this one. Well, characteristics, principles, whatever they call it, basically any contract has these, right? So, a contract should have or is characterized with an obligatory force. So, it constitutes as the law between the contracting parties as what we have to be discussed under 1308. So, it means to say kapag yan ay may obligatory force between the parties. Well, a party cannot just under mutuality as well. Ito provided din kasama sa mutuality. Yung party, he cannot just cancel or revoke the contract without consent of the other, no? So, basically, both parties are bound. And this is based on the equality of the parties. So, mutuality, when it comes to mutuality, validity and performance cannot be left to the will of one of the parties. So I've read that in a certain Supreme Court decision, but it is as well relative to relevant to Articles 1308, 1309, 1310, and 1473. So when we say by mutuality of contracts, both parties are bound based on the essential equality of the parties. It is repugnant to bind one party and yet leave the other free. So dapat ay however, the rule that the obligation of contract should not be impaired is not absolute. Thus, the free exercise of religious beliefs is superior to contractual rights. An example is the belief of a religious sect that its members should not join a labor organization or participate in a collective bargaining agreement. So here, it shows us that there are instances that non-impairment of contracts ay hindi daw absolute. May mga pagkakataon na the free exercise of religious beliefs has been decided to be superior than contractual rights. Kasi daw, may certain religious organization na yung mga miyembro ay pinagbabawalan niya na mag-join ng labor organization. So, it was upheld to be valid or participate in a collective bargaining agreement. So, it was upheld to be valid, which is superior to other contractual rights. So, another characteristic of a contract is relativity. Anong ibig sabihin? What is relativity? Relativity is that contracts, binding only upon the parties and their successors. Contracts are relatively binding between the parties only, their assigns, and their heirs. So, yun yung ibig sabihin nito. So, it only are generally they're effective only between the parties, their assigns, their heirs. So, sa kanilang mga tagapagmana and assigns into the parties. So, kaya importante yung, kaya minsan na ba, kung mapapansin ninyo, minsan kini-question natin yung mga taong nagko-question on the binding effect of a contract, kung sila ba ay may legal standing kung tatawagin kasi sa kontrata ay dapat it would bind only those parties only to the contract, their assigns. Kung hindi man si party themselves, meron silang iniwanan or diniligatan as an authorized assignee, and then they have their heirs as well kung namatay man. And then contracts takes effect only between the parties, their assigns and heirs under 1311, except in case of intransmissible contracts. So, ibig sabihin nito, may mga pagkakataon na hindi po nagkakaroon ng transfer because by themselves, those obligations under contract obligations are not transmissible. Na hindi po siya mapapalipat dun sa kanilang mga assigns, heirs. What are those intransmissible na contracts? Well, those which are purely personal. So, eto, we have discussed this one in our personal obligations. Tandaan nyo ba? And then, the very nature of the obligation that requires special personal qualifications of the obligor, payment of money debts not transmitted to the heirs but to the estate. Yun yung mga intransmissible. No one may contract in the name of another. So, here, related to relativity of contract, No one may contract in the name of another. So, as a general rule, a person is not bound by the contract of another of which he has no knowledge or to which he has not given consent. Thus, a contract cannot be entered into in the name of another by one who has no authority, is as well unenforceable against the former unless it is ratified by him before it is revoked by the other contracting parties. Well, anyway, we'll be discussing further this one under 1311. Let's now discuss the classification of contracts according to subject matter. So, ang dami nating classification naman na. First one is that contracts involving things such as sale, well, barter, yun. And then another is contracts involving services such as agency, lease of services, and then a contract of common carriage and a contract of carriage such as simple carriage. And then contracts involving rights or credits. So provided here, provided that these are those which are transmissible, like a contract of use of wrath or assignment of credits. Well, let's have another classification of contracts. Well, according to kinds of contract, according to name, we have nominate at saka innominate. Eh, di pag nominate, may special name siya such as pledge, barter, lease, yun. May designation, comodatum, partnership, sale, agency, deposit. So, yun yung mga yun yung mga kinds of contract. Innominate naman ay yung mga no specific name or designation under the law. So, we have kinds of innominate contract without a name. Ayan, mga do ut des naman to. So, anyway, do ut des, I give you that you may give. Do ut fascias, facto ut des, facto ut fascias. So, yun po yung mga examples ng innominate na mga contracts. But for do ut des ha, and no longer an innominate contract, has already been given a name of its own, that is barter or exchange. I gave you that you may give. Do ut des. So yun po. So we have, according to perfection, the kinds of contract. Well, basically this should be consensual and real contracts, which is governed under 1315. So, for consensual contract, ito yung perfected by mere consent, such as sale, lease, agency. So, they are perfected from the moment there is the agreement or meeting of the minds, kung naalala ninyo, on the subject matter and the cause or consideration. So, ang tawag natin dyan ay yung mga consensual contracts. Meron namang another is the real contract, which is perfected by the delivery of the thing or subject matter of the contract, such as depositum, pledge, and comodatum. So, yung comodatum ay yung sinasabi natin contract of loan, diba? Or by one of the parties delivers to another either something not consumable, so that the latter may use the same for a certain time and return it. So, essentially, it is gratuitous kung natatandaan niyo yung comodatum. Ika nga, ihiraman lang to ng bagay. So, yun po yun. So, for depositum, well, it's a depositary pledge. A contract of pledge, like saying na merong collateral over a contract of loan. And then, the delivery of a thing pledged in exchange of the principal amount as an obligation or loan. Here, 1315 covered the real contract. Contracts are perfected by mere consent, and from the moment the parties are bound not only to the fulfillment of what has been expressly stipulated, but also to all the consequences which according to their nature may be in keeping with good faith, usage, and law. So, importante yun, diba? When it comes to one of the basic principles or characteristics na as what I've mentioned a while ago na ang it is expected that parties which are bound by the contract to comply as well in good faith um, to the contracts. 1316. Real contracts such as deposit, pledge, and comodatum are not perfected until the delivery of the object of the obligation. Well, basically kasi sa real obligation, this is perfected, a real contract perfected by the delivery of the object of the contract. So we have as well solemn na contract, which requires compliance with certain formalities prescribed by laws or solemnities required by law, such prescribed form being thereby an essential element thereof, such as donation of real property, na kung saan kailangan yung nasa isang public instrument. So, natutunan na natin na ito'y prescribed din under 1356, and then natutunan din natin na may certain formalities when it comes to donations. There should be an acceptance on the parties, and the donation should not be inofficious. So, it should be put into writing in a public, dapat ay nasa isang public na instrument. Ano? And then, when it comes to stages of the contract, we have, for stages of the contract, we have as the first stage when it comes to the life of a contract, basically. So, the first stage is the preparation or the negotiation. So, basically, this or the generation na point ng or stage ng life ng contract. So, basically, this is the preparatory step ng mga parties being taken leading to the perfection ng contract. Usually, the bargaining point of in the conception ng contract. So, this is where the negotiation or the bargaining point. Second of which is the perfection or birth of the contract. So, basically, nangyayari dito, the meeting of the minds regarding the subject matter and the contract, the cause of the contract. So, importante yon. So, the parties have come to a definite agreement or the meeting of the minds regarding the subject matter and the cause of the contract. And thirdly, this one is considered as the where's the third one? Here, consummation. Under perfection, the parties are bound to the fulfillment of what's been expressly stipulated, and compliance thereof must be in good faith. The parties are also bound to all the consequences which according to their nature may be in keeping with good faith, usage, and law. So, yun po yun sa ating pong perfection or birth of the contract. So, when it comes to the death or termination ng contract, death, termination, consummation, ito yung point in time sa contract when the parties have performed their respective obligations na, and the contract is put to an end. So, have performed their respective obligations, and the contract may be said to have been fully accomplished or executed, resulting in the extinguishment or termination of the contract. So, basically, yun po yung atin pong stages ng or phases ng life ng isang contract. Preparation, negotiation, perfection, birth, and then consummation or termination. So, let's now go with the persons affected by the contract. Who are those persons which are affected by the contract? We have the parties, their assigns, and their heirs. And then we have as well third persons could be. So, yun po So, let's start with the first one which is basically affected by a contract. The parties, their assigns, and heirs. As a general rule, a contract takes effect only between the parties, their assigns, and their heirs. So, only the parties, their assigns, and heirs can have the rights and obligations under the contract. Ang exception lang The cases when contracts are effective only between the parties are when the rights and obligations arising from the contract are not transmissible. So this has been discussed previously. So because by their nature, like a contract involving personal qualifications such as painting, singing, so hindi naman yun po pwede ipasa because if you have contracted the persons because of his personal nga na qualification, so pag namatay yun, hindi mo masasabi na the same qualities ang papalit. So basically, yun ay talent kumbaga by its nature intransmissible. By stipulation, in accordance with the principle of freedom to contract. So, and then by provisions of law as in agency, partnership, and comodatum when death extinguishes the legal relationship. So, na-discuss na din natin to previously in 1178 in our previous na mga topics under obligations. And then, another party that would be affected by contracts are third persons. So, as a general rule, a third person has no rights and obligations under a contract since he has taken no part in a contract and is therefore a stranger to it. He has no standing in law to demand the enforcement of a contract or question its validity. Ito yung sinasabi kong example kanina. Well, the contract, because of the rules on relativity, yung contract po ay binding to the parties only, his assigns or heirs. So, if you are a party to the contract, you could actually demand for the enforcement of the contract or question the validity of the contract if you are an heir, an assign, or the party themselves. So, kapag wala, wala ka pong kinalaman sa contract. So, here, as a general rule nga, ang third person ay walang right, to question or demand for the enforcement of the contract. Well, there's an exception. There are cases, however, when the third person may be affected by a contract. Among these cases are 1, in contracts containing a stipulation in favor of third person. Ito yung stipulation for a truly. Well, discussing this one, this is a very interesting topic. And in contracts creating real rights, in contracts entered into to defraud for the creditors, and in contracts which have been violated at the inducement of a third person. So basically, just remember those concepts which as an exception to when can a third person could question the validity at the same time demand for the enforcement of the contract. But we will be basically discussing that one thoroughly on our later not chapters, and that would be the end of chapter 1. And the second chapter, another thorough discussion of the essential requisites of a contract. So let's conclude this one first kasi nahahapo na ako, and then let's stop it here. Okay?